you talked about, you have talked about some of the coercion that Beijing uses. Can you share some of the examples or an example of how the communist regime in Beijing attempts to coerce and intimidate Chinese Canadians?
I can share with you many incidents, but I believe that just to illustrate the kind of strong arm of the law, if you were, of the Chinese here in Canada, and the kind of subtle way that they can do this with sort of exerting fear on the Chinese Canadian community is a very typical example of.
This is going to be very interesting to hear because this is something the PMO has zero informed knowledge of. And here you got a guy that's going to go in detail how it happens in Canada for years. Let's have a listen.
You get a phone call, not only just in the middle of the night, but you get a phone call in the middle of the day asking, so how are your parents doing back in Sichuan, China? And then you get the message. That means if you don't behave, your parents' phone numbers, address, or even their physical well-being is under threat. So in that sense, it's a very subtle threat, and they've used this on many Chinese Canadians. I'm sure they have done this to Mr. Totti as well. So this is something that I can vouch for. I will tell you a very innocuous kind of way that they did to me. I was traveling to Hong Kong for a cultural event. I'm a filmmaker. I went to a film festival in Hong Kong to present my film, and I was followed in Hong Kong back in 2005. And I was questioned during the Q&A period by what I seemed to be an agent of the Chinese communist regime. And these are little things that they know. You know that I know that you know that I'm watching you. So that's the kind of thing that they exert pressure on you.
Thank you.
This goes back to 2005, you know, 2014 when the PMO got in, like that's plenty of time. That's 10 years after.
These are little things that they
know. And now it's almost 8 years after that,
in
2023. And the PMO knows, once again, absolutely nothing about it. Isn't that just incredible how that all unfolds?
CanadaWide